reach up and zoom out that guy just a little bit.
Okay.
Either one.
Not too much.
No, what you're good. Whatever you're comfortable.
This
Whatever
is
you're
the
happy
Joe
with.
Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Oh my gosh, it is. It is good morning. Good afternoon. Good morning, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Monday? Happy Monday. It is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. BamaCentral.com. Hanging out with you guys in the Derry Daniel State Farm Studios. Joe Gaither, Theo Fernandez. We are live on a rainy Monday on BamaCentral.com. You can check us out on the Bama Central YouTube channel. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. And we have a ton to get into today. So we're going to get right into it. We invite you on the comment section. We invite you on the voicemail line, 205-462-7340, extension 800. We are going to talk about March Madness. That's pretty much the docket for today. The Sweet 16 is set, and Alabama is in it. How sweet it is. So we will talk mostly about Alabama and the Sweet 16, the other teams that made it through the first two rounds, what the next round looks like in Newark, and see what else is left on the table from the weekend. Before we do that, though, and before I ask the how you doing, Warren Tyrone Auto, they've been a Tuscaloosa and University of Alabama staple since 1961. They're in their third generation of family ownership. Warren Tyrone Auto is the go-to place for all your automotive needs. They've got two great locations to serve you. For tires, brakes, and alignment, you can reach out to the 15th Street location at 205-759-5505. And all other automotive needs, reach out to the University Boulevard location at 205-758-2739. That's Warren Tire and Auto. And if you are driving in West Alabama today, you already know it's wet outside. Make sure that your tires, brakes, and alignment are properly taken care of or up to date by visiting Warren Tire and Auto. You can see them on 15th Street for those tires, brakes, and alignment needs at 205-759-5505. With that, oh my gosh, Theo. For the fourth time in 5 years, the Crimson Tide is in the Sweet 16. Follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _. Good morning, sir. How we doing?
I'm doing amazing, and a big part of that is because Alabama's still dancing. It looked not bleak, but a little questionable at times on Friday.
Yeah.
Watching whatever that Robert Morris game was, and then Grant Nelson gets onto the court.
Put me in,
all
coach.
Your worries just
I'm
go
ready
right
to play. It's not baseball, but the same concept.
Exactly. January, February, Grant, April. The switch flips every March. It really does. And his impact has just been incredible, and I'm feeling great because of it.
Shoot, you better be feeling good about these first two games because of Grant Nelson. I mean, he has the good performance on Friday in 4 or 5, 7 minutes, and then gets out and starts on Sunday, plays 28 minutes, gives you 12 points. He gives you a really, really big 3-pointer that kind of it was kind of getting stagnant there. Grant's 3-pointer. Let's see. It was only 1 of 4. Let's see. Where was this?
And if you guys remember, as he's talking
right there, 11-14. St. Mary's had kind of recut it 13-13. He comes right back down and says, nope, we're going to stay right ahead of this team. Oh, what a performance.
And that
Go
three
ahead.
was such a line drive, too. If you guys that thing just went
she has the flattest shot.
Yeah, there was no arc to that thing. I watched just started cheering when it went in. It was what a shot. 1,000 career rebounds too for Grant now.
Well, good for you, Grant. See, you are tough. Theo, there's so many ways we can go with this. We can focus just on Alabama St. Mary's. We can focus on the SEC. We can focus on the legacy members of the SEC. We can focus on Alabama's path. People getting online talking about Alabama's path being too easy, being too favorable. What do you want to start with? Do you want to just start with the game itself, 80 to 66? What Alabama did to really take the Gales. I don't want to say they sped Alabama. They sped the Gales up more than because St. Mary's we still played a slower game. You ended with 72 possessions for Alabama, 66 for St. Mary's. It was St. Mary's is playing in the 60s. Alabama wants to play in the 70s. So right there, that tells you they found a happy medium. But what they did, I thought Alabama showed a lot of maturity on Sunday night.
Yeah, I like that take. I think you look at I think the biggest thing for me was there were halftime adjustments. I thought the team that came out after that halftime break was controlling the pace a lot more than they did in the first half. And look, the second half, first of all, it wasn't even all that higher scoring, but it just looked more like Alabama was playing its brand of basketball. And Nate Oates won the coaching battle. That is, you can talk about maturity of the players, the way they adjusted. I think the biggest reason that this game went the way it did was Nate Oates won the coaching battle.
Theo, on Saturday, I drug Mason up here, and I bitched and moaned about Alabama not looking like they were respecting the game, not looking like they were respecting winning against Robert Morris, not looking like they took them very seriously and playing that way. I thought that really the Crimson Tide looked like they were taking every possession seriously. Nate must have done a really good job communicating just how slow St. Mary's plays and how every possession will be. Look, buddy, we're not going to get 80 possessions and we can waste 10 of them. And we need to take every single one of them seriously. I was impressed with the commitment to go to the cup. I was impressed with the commitment to rebound the basketball. Gosh, that's the biggest thing. Keeping them off of the offensive glass, and they still had 15 offensive rebounds, but their 15 offensive rebounds going for 9 second chance points, not what could have been 30. You look at their points per possession, say St. Mary's, Alabama holding them to .917. And goodness gracious, if this Alabama team holds teams under 1 points per possession, that's been pretty much the line. If you look at Alabama this year, if they're under 1, you walk away feeling like that was a pretty good defensive performance. That's happened like 5-7 times this year. Not very often. A lot of it's 1.1, 1.2, 1.03, 1. And it's like, oh, well, we outscored them. Alabama outscored them. I think Alabama really embraced the defensive end, and yes, I will acknowledge I think St. Mary's is deficient athletically when it stands up against the Alabama lineup, and maybe that gave the Crimson Tide players more confidence. But whatever the difference was, Alabama embraced the defensive end on Sunday evening, and I was just like, okay, this is okay. You're starting to tickle my feelings a little bit, Nate. You're starting to look like these guys have really bought in.
Look, it really was just one of the most complete performances I've seen out of this team. It is the kind of game where, and look, obviously, SEC basketball is different than what we watched last night. We haven't seen many games like that. The closest game to that, I'd say, was that loss to Ole Miss.
Sure,
That's, in the sense of, okay, similar brand of basketball was played.
Yeah.
We don't see Alabama play in many games like this. We won't see them play in many games. I mean, you look at the potential road ahead, and neither of the next 2 games will be like that either. But it's very reassuring, and it's great to see that Nate Oates can go out there and win a game like this, because that's really important. And I'm sure there will be another game if Alabama is to go on any kind of real run here. There probably will be another game like that at some point down the line.
Alabama 8 turnovers in the first half, ended with 11. Theo, when Mason and I are here, our magic number when we're talking about games is 12 or fewer. If you can go 12 or fewer turnovers, I'm impressed. You go 8 in the first half, and they cut it down to 3 in the second. I just thought that, you look at the second half, like total boxing, it was a 1-point win. You won 37-38. I was just impressed because when you watch St. Mary's and you know St. Mary's over the last my whole life, the last 15 years or so, is that tough, gritty team going to come after your neck, going to be the Boston Terrier, gonna bite your ankles the entire race until you've fallen over and then they pass you. Like, I have a lot of respect for St. Mary's, not in the sense of a toughness standpoint, of an athletic standpoint, but in the sense of we're going to play tough, we're going to play smart, we're going to give ourselves the best chance to win. And I think they did that yesterday, but I think Alabama played their game a little bit. We're going to play just as tough. We can play smart. We can prove we can play smart. Obviously, you turn the ball over too much in the first half, and it maybe got a little too quick. But then the threes, you got after it on the 3-point line, 7 of 17. Really, really. I mean, hello, Alabama. Live by the 3, die by the 3. You shot under 20 3-pointers. I just was so impressed. It was not really like any performance that I think we've seen this year. You got Cliff 2-game performance. Golly, we need to save a second to talk about Cliff for 2 games.
It's unreal.
But I was just watching it thinking, okay, this might be a little recipe. This is a recipe that bakes all the way through the rest of this tournament. So I was getting excited. I'll just say that, Theo.
Cliff's been so.
Are you sleepy this morning?
I am not.
Okay, all right. I am. It's okay. I was just asking.
No, I'm. Look, we're talking college basketball on a Monday morning. There's nowhere I'd rather be. So I actually have
no place I'd rather be.
A lot of energy right now. Very excited, and Cliff was insane.
Yeah, okay. We've had the debate here. I'm going to set you up. We've had the debate all year long. Is Cliff worth the bag?
We have our answer now. Look, first of all, what we've seen the past 2 days out of Cliff, that's what I thought we were getting every game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. I thought those lobs would be there all the time. Thought we'd see at least like 3 a night. And there have been games like the Kentucky one at home where he did do that, but they were few and far between. 13, when they showed that graphic that he was 13 for 13, and then of course he misses it a second later, but literally as they pull the graphic down, he misses his first shot. But it's absurd just how free every single one of those lobs are.
What's the athletic difference? I mean, they did have 2 7-footers, they being St. Mary's, but Robert Morris didn't have anybody that was like over 6'10", and so, brother, it's on. You and maybe we got to find out what BYU's roster looks like, but Cliff, this is what you bought. What we brought you in for?
Yeah.
We brought you in to be the dunker spot.
I thought he could do it against SEC centers. I thought that would happen a little more.
God, the SEC is so brutal. 7. Theo, I'm about to lose my mind. I have somebody that told me, oh, it's not impressive. And so here's where I am. I asked this person before the tournament, how many teams need to make the SEC tournament or need to make the Sweet 16? Oh, I'm not going to say just because I don't want to play your silly games. Okay. Well, I said, I think they might make 4. I think 4 might be about right. And 4 still feels like a lot. Well, they qualify 6 in the middle of the night or in the middle of the evening. And I'm asking, is 6 enough? Well, 6 is tied for a record, but okay, in 2016, the ACC put 7 teams in the tournament, and 6 of them made the Sweet 16. Highly impressive, very impressive, incredibly impressive. Great job, ACC 2016. Great job. But here we are now. It's 7 teams make it into, so it breaks that record. And it's more impressive. Okay, great. ACC is more impressive. 7 teams make the dance. 6, so 6 of your 7 made the Sweet 16. 7 of the SEC's 14 made the Sweet 16. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So basically, where I go from this conversation is, if you can't agree, Theo, that a record-breaking performance is impressive, I don't want to have anything to do with this conversation anymore. Yeah, and so I walked away. I was like, okay, you just clearly shown either you're trolling me, which is possible, you're trolling me, or you just don't quite understand how this tournament works.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that's fine. It's not my job to. It's not my role to. If you don't want to take what I have to say, then that's fine. 7.
Yeah,
And
unreal.
a little caveat. Bleep all you expansion teams. 7 teams that made it into the Sweet 16 are all the legacy SEC members. Not you, Missouri, get out of here. Not you, Vanderbilt, get out of here. Not Texas, get out of here. Oklahoma, get out of here. You guys can go.
How does Vanderbilt? What do you have against Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt's not an original member.
Oh, haven't they been in since like the 30s?
Are they not? What did I see?
Vanderbilt's been in forever, I thought.
Vanderbilt is like an original Southern Conference member in like the 10s, but maybe they were an original SEC member. Okay, we'll pivot. This is just about This is just about Missouri, Texas, and Missouri. Oh yeah, that's what it's Missouri. It's Texas. It's Texas A&M and Oklahoma. It's all the newbies, the real newbies, the ones from 2014 and from this past year.
Yeah,
still got that stanky Big 12 blood on them. That loser stench on them.
Doesn't mean more.
All the legacy members got into the Sweet 16. Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee. 2 more. Help me out. 2 more. Kentucky and Ole Miss.
LSU is somewhere crying in the corner.
Yeah, at home. Matt McMahon.
Not even in the NIT. Watching Will Wade highlights.
Well, okay, Will Wade. What do you think about Amir Khan? I am out on Mr. Amir Khan. I'm not a Sister Jean guy. I'm not an Amir Khan fella. I'm not like all these ancillary members of teams that go on these runs. Get out of here. You're not shooting any basketballs, buddy or ma'am.
All right, look, you can say whatever you want about Amir. Sister Jean is where I draw the line. We are not slandering Sister Jean.
The lady, I mean, I wish you well personally, but she's just sitting in a chair I prayed for our boy. Here's my problem as a Christian. God doesn't care if I pray for Alabama to win or lose. If Alabama wins or loses, that's not really. I think I absolutely do think that God is obviously paying attention to all of the sports and all of the world and all of our lives. But I don't think he's up there moving passes 1 inch to the left and 1 inch to the right. I think there's bigger problems going, bigger issues at play here. And so I find it very, very disingenuous to, I'm praying for our boys. I'm praying for a long run. I'm praying for this. It's like, I think you should. I'm sorry, this is a tangent, but I think you show a fundamental misunderstanding of Christianity when you talk about, well, I prayed for us to win. Oh, so are you? Does that mean that you prayed for the other side to lose? Like, because that's not nice. That's not. I don't know.
The way I always saw that was like, okay, she's praying for the team to win, but she's also praying for the run to keep going, for them to continue to be able to play basketball together. There's so much more about just the win-loss. There's the community aspect. There's, I don't know.
So are you an Amir Khan guy? Are you bumping out the boombox?
I will not be bumping out the boomboxes. I saw that clip in like February. I saw it in February. I thought, you know what? This is funny. Didn't think anything of it. My problem is I don't know the whole why is he who we're obsessed with. He seems like an awesome
He's
guy.
got some like cool handshakes with the team before, but like you're stealing all the players' shine, buddy.
He seems like an amazing guy. I think it's really cool that we live in a world where he's able to turn this into life-changing wealth and a new opportunity next year at NC State.
Is this just jealousy? Is this just Joe Gaither jealousy?
Might be. I think it's awesome that he's able to do. I'm a little tired of just. I have more posts about him than I do about the games. That's a little annoying.
If I were Will Wade, I would say, "We ain't taking you. You're not a take."
He's clearly working though. They clearly want him.
They do. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying.
I want him.
No, I'm saying, hey, buddy, you got to stay at my knees. Go in the portal, look for another job, look for another managerial job.
Will Wade's probably hiring him when he graduates, if we're being honest.
All right. So Alabama. We're here in the Derry Daniel State Farm Studios. It's a rainy Monday morning. We hope you all have a great Monday morning and are excited about the week ahead. We thank Derek Daniel and his team for sponsoring the program. You can call Derek at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Call us if you'd like at 205-462-7340 extension 800 and leave us a voicemail about Alabama basketball's performance in the NCAA tournament. Next thing we got to talk about, Theo.
What's that?
Alabama's path was too easy.
Oh, come on.
Alabama's path is so favorable.
Do we really need to waste time talking about this? Is this something we have to go into?
Yes, we have to, because people are stupid, Theo. People are legitimately dumb. Legitimately, I'm sorry. Like, all the entire crux of my annoyance and anger over the last 2 weeks is people just not understanding the tournament. People comparing the tournament to football. Oh, so much football comparisons. Like, it is not the same at all. Not even close to the same. And you get the championship or bust. We don't care if it's not. Like, hello, I'm going to celebrate the fact that Alabama made their fourth Sweet 16 in 5 years. Like, that consistency should be celebrated. But look at this. Yeah. Well, Alabama got a good drawing Robert Morris. I'm sorry. What do you expect from a 2 seed? I mean, what do you expect? Look at these other 2 seeds, Theo. Michigan State got to play Bryant. Are we gonna sit here and about Michigan State? No. Who cares? Oh, St. John's wrecked Omaha by 30 points. Tennessee played Wofford and wrecked them by 15. Okay. Alabama won by 9 over Robert Morris. This is just simply showing your ignorance and just reading a name that says Robert Morris and seeing 15 and being like, yeah, they must suck. They must not be good. They must not be that good. And look, were they that good? They were above average. They were a good little mid-major basketball team, sure. But look, all the 2 seeds got a good first-round game.
That's how basketball works. That's how this tournament. There have been
help me and I'll catch up.
There have been 9 15-2 upsets ever, something along those. You guys knew this was coming, right? Even the 3s dominated, the 4s. Are you going to go out and say like, oh hey, like Maryland, you played?
So I'm hearing, Florida had it really tough because they had UConn in the second round. It's just the dumb perception because the average fan saw UConn win 2 back-to-back, win 2 national champions. Great program. Not disparaging UConn at all, but they were not the same of the last 2 years. Did they play a good game against Florida yesterday? Sure, of course. And Dan Hurley showed that he's a great coach yesterday against Todd Golden. I thought that he outcoached Todd Golden, but Florida didn't get an unfavorable draw. They played Norfolk State, and then they played the winner of an 8-9 game.
I somewhat disagree with you, actually, here.
Go ahead.
I think I don't know how they allowed a really strong 1 seed in Florida's position to have to play that game second round.
Where did you put them? Do you put them in Auburn's bracket? You swap them with Creighton?
I don't think
you swap them with Baylor up here with Duke?
I don't think UConn or Gonzaga should have been on the 8 line. I think they should have been 7s.
Okay.
I think
come on. That's a different argument. Argument. But and fair.
There's no fundamental, like, you can't argue about any team's path in this tournament. It's absurd to do that.
Drives me absolutely nuts because what you're getting is, well, Alabama, of course they were put in a pod against St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
St. Mary's was a very highly regarded team all year.
Right.
Auburn fans have tried saying stuff. They were St. Mary's is ranked 10 spots higher than Creighton.
Right. This is that you're finding the crux of the root of my argument. The Auburn fans, the Auburn faithful, crying about playing Alabama State and Creighton, where Alabama got Robert Morris and St. Mary's. Yeah. Like, this is.
I can't believe
this is degrees. We're debating literal degrees of difficulty. Not. It's insane. And then, of course, Alabama, you get a lucky game against BYU. I'm sorry, Wisconsin lost. Like, the 3 seed Wisconsin lost by 2 points to a good BYU team. It's going to be a brutal Sweet 16 game this coming up week. Like, it's going to not be fun. This is the 27th, so that's Thursday, right? Yeah, we're playing Thursday, Sunday. we're playing Thursday, Saturday because we got the Mormons on our schedule. And you want to talk about favorability? Well, we can't play on Sunday, so they get the extra day's rest, and Alabama doesn't.
Wow. Let's I mean, look, the March is supposed to be unpredictable. It's supposed to be crazy. It's not supposed to be all 2-3 match. Florida was a buzzer beater away from getting to play Colorado State next round. Derek Queen doesn't hit that shot. Florida's playing a 12 seed in the Sweet 16. Would people have had a tantrum then?
We traveled.
He did. He did try. He fully did. I cannot believe it wasn't.
We can't call. Like, you've got. I'm in a weird spot because I see that, and okay, you obviously traveled, Maryland player, clearly, but then I wonder if my phone just died. Yeah, we're still connected. I'm gonna reconnect this as my. We're still on. Here we go. Let's do like that. Let's do cha. Audio, visual. That's gone. How about that? Boom. Hey guys. Grab that case right there.
Yep.
And we're gonna pop them right back up right there. Yep. On its side. Yep. Perfect.
Like this?
Yep. Oh, yeah, perfect. Just like that. Awesome. We make it work in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Right there. Perfect. Right. Yeah.
There we go.
We like that. Okay. In a weird spot with Maryland. Maryland travels at the end of the game, and then you get the well, you can't call that. You can't call that. It's like, so do you call that at the end and ruin Maryland's chance and say you lost on the travel?
It's just it's unfair either way. It would be so unfair to have Maryland have their season end on that when it's refereeing basketball is so subjective. It is so up random, whatever word you want to use. Like you can, it's all about what the ref chooses to see and what not to see. And they chose not to see that one, and we got an amazing moment because of it. But could you imagine if that happened to us? Could you imagine what we would be saying right now if Alabama had that shot hit on them to end their season?
It would be a Creighton moment.
I mean, it would be
It would
chaos.
So you're still young, but do you remember Alabama losing to Creighton in the NCAA tournament?
I'm aware of the Bama Creighton lore, yeah.
Right. So it'd be like that. It would be just like that. Whatever team hit that shot on Alabama would immediately go to the top of the list as far as public enemy. God, Trevor did get fouled against the Creighton Blue Jays. So it would be like that. So all this to say, everyone's path is what it is, and everyone is. I don't have any issues with any of these. Nobody's getting favorable pass. If you got a 1 seed, you've earned a good draw.
Mm-hmm.
You've earned playing these 4-5 matchups.
And guess what? If you're a 2 seed and you're playing a 6, Texas Tech's playing Arkansas. It's a 10 seed. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely ridiculous. All right, so anything else from these first 2 rounds? What's your biggest take or take away from these first 2 rounds? Alabama related, or it can be SEC, non-SEC, whatever, anything. What's you feeling from these 2 rounds before we move on a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's just a more general college basketball take that just needs to be said, because it's, again, one of those things where I can't believe we have to devote time to talking about it, but some of the takes I've been seeing on X have just been so atrocious. We had a very chalk tournament.
Mm-hmm.
This is not what every March is like. People are all of a sudden acting like upsets haven't been happening at a crazy rate. Talking about, with NIL, these smaller schools will never have a chance to compete. Let's take a little look at some of the stuff that's happened in the 3 tournaments that we've had NIL for. We've had a 15 seed in the Elite 8. We've had another 15 in the Sweet 16. We've had one of 2 16-over-1 exits or upsets. We've had Yale. We've had Oakland.
Yale.
We've had McNeese. We had Richmond.
That's that Golke kid, right?
Yeah,
Jack Golke
for Oakland.
That's a kid that I want. His face. He had such a punchable face. His face looked like a video game.
He was shooting like he was in a video.
That's
game.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
But we just keep seeing all these runs. FAU, would an American Conference team go to the championship as a 9 seed if it was really that bad? This was a year where the top teams were abnormally strong. We've had plenty of years where, it happens about once a decade where we have no top 4 seeds lose in the first round. This isn't unheard of.
But does that make the tournament bad? I think it's such a terrible take. I put it out there as a kind of a troll on Friday. Was this the worst first round ever with Mason?
From the perspective of I want to see chaos and great finishes, yeah, it was the worst one that I can remember. I won't deny that. We've still had our moments. That Michigan,
but isn't
UCSB,
bad pizza still pizza?
Exactly, and that is my whole. That's why I don't like any of these sentiments that are being echoed. This is almost everyone's favorite sporting event of the year. We all, at the end of the day, had a great time watching the past 4 days of basketball. We got amazing. We got the Derek Queen shot. We got Rick Pitino losing to Arkansas.
That was great.
That Oregon-Arizona game last night was incredible. There were plenty of great moments still, and next year, I guarantee you, we'll be right back to the regularly scheduled madness where you'll see teams losing left and right. But right now, let's just look at this Sweet 16 that we have, with 15 of the teams being seeded 1 through 6, with the other one being Arkansas with the Hall of Fame coach. This is fun. This is going to be really fun. There is not a single matchup in this Sweet 16 where I look and I'm like, oh, that's going to be a bad game. This is going to be an amazing Sweet 16 that we get because we had not a lot of upsets.
Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Houston, Purdue on one half, Duke, Arizona, BYU, Alabama, Ole Miss, Michigan State, and Auburn, Michigan on the other half. Gonna be a lot of fun, really. That's a lot of big brand basketball, big brand name basketball.
I'm very excited.
So Bama's playing on Thursday against BYU. When we finish this show, Theo, I have to basically find out if I'm going or not, because we got to communicate with the team a little bit to figure out if I'm going to Newark or not, and then that'll kind of adjust the rest of the week's schedule accordingly. If we're not, which will be fine. If I'm not, if I'm going, it'll be great. If I'm not, it'll be fine. If I'm not, we'll absolutely do 5 shows right here from the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. If I'm going, we'll figure out what we need to do as far as getting shows on the air, into the ether, into the right places with Mason the rest of the week. So that'll be on my docket for today. What else is going on? What else is going on this week outside of the? Oh gosh, hey, we cannot have this Monday show without talking about our ladies, the Alabama women, taking down Green Bay, and they're taking on Maryland today at 4:00. 4:00 on the ESPN2. 4:00, and if they win, that'll be their first time getting to the second round. They will have qualified for a game in Birmingham. It's a really big deal for the girls. Now, I'm not going to sit here and break down the girls like an expert, because I don't know anything about Maryland, and I just be reading your names. I do think that they showed. I watched a decent amount of it on Saturday morning, 12:30. I watched the second part of the game, and they were already up on Green Bay by about 10, and they kind of held that margin pretty much the whole time. Christy was getting after him. Coach Curry, she was getting after the girls.
She was fired up.
I know Essence Cody got herself in a little bit of foul trouble and got sat down on the bench. And I don't know if Essence was crying because she got hurt or something, or if she was crying because she got into foul trouble, or because of Coach Curry yelling at her. I don't know, but she was visibly crying on the bench. But she got herself together, and they won the game. 4:00 today. Can they do it? Can you beat Maryland? Let's look at 1 or 2 basic things for Maryland. Maryland is a 1.5 point. Alabama's a 1.5 point favorite, so that's a good thing. You're playing on Maryland's home floor, so like, hey guys, it's gonna be a challenge. 24-7, 4th place in the Big Ten.
Can we turn this into a little sidebar?
Sure.
How would you feel about the hosting in the men's tournament? Like the
Terrible.
top, you don't like it at all?
Awful. It's a terrible idea. The women do it because it's cheap.
And because they need fans to go.
Yeah. Because it's cheap, because the arenas are already there, and exactly, the Maryland gets to host with their home fans. No, I would hate it. I mean, as far as if Alabama's men's were hosting the first 2 rounds, of course it would be awesome. It would be, just as far as a spectacle, electric. But would I find it as an analyst fair? No, I would not find it. I would not find it acceptable as an analyst at all to go into any other arena, to go into Gainesville, to go into Duke, Cameron Indoor, to go anywhere. I would say this is hooey, massive hooey, and it really is, because every time Alabama, though, this is what Christie's 4th tournament in a row, 3rd in a row, maybe 4th out of 5 years, I think is what it is. I know it's 3 in a row, but each time they've gone as an underseeded team, fine, okay. And then when they go and play the host, gotten their doors blown off. It's not fair. It is set up. It's a system that is set up to get their top seeds to the next rounds, because it's set up to get their top seeds to the next round for money, for TV purposes, so that you can continue to grow the game. And obviously, we want to grow every sport. We want to grow every game. But I find it disingenuous to manipulate the sport in such a way that continues to encourage top teams to win. The top teams do not need your help. They don't. South Carolina does not need your help. Gino Auriemma did not need anybody's help any time. Pat Summitt did not need anyone's help at all, and neither does Kim Mulkey. Like, they're just going to win. I think it's a terrible setup. I think it's a terrible setup, born out of laziness and born out of, we need to keep growing eyes to our game as best as possible. And I think that is you're going for cheap value. You're going for cheap heat, cheap value. I think if you went to the obviously it's going to cost you more, so of course you're not going to do it. We saw those weight rooms last year, 2 years ago, for those road sites. It was like a set of dumbbells for those girls. It's terrible. So we know they're not taking care of the girls. But just like, it is antithesis of competition, in my opinion.
Could not agree more. And you look at this woman's tournament, and it is a little, it's a little upsetting how few. That's a tournament where there really are no upsets in the first round.
Well, for the women, the talent is disparity is the first issue. The talent disparity. The top talent's going to the top 5-7 teams. That's the first problem. But then you give that top talent home games. Well, you've all but eliminated the possibility of having an upset. You get UConn upset. The team that obviously UConn's not really the same right now. Or are
UConn's
they?
A 2 seed?
Are they? Okay, yeah. No, I haven't. There's my women's game. You get the team that upsets South Carolina, that upsets LSU, that upsets some of these top teams. Boom! That immediately goes to the top of the ESPN ticker, and their next game, everybody's watching it. Like, you've got to set the table. And fairly.
Do you know what happens to that mid-major school that pulls the upset? Do you know how much more money goes pouring into their women's basketball program? And you know what, that all of a sudden you're building a new force to be reckoned with in the sport. You're building a new team that can be competitive. And it really, look at how hard Robert Morris fought to try to stay in that game against us. Could you imagine them trying to do it if there were 10,000 fans screaming at them too? With how strained they were, how hard you're fighting to pull that. It would be so unfair is the perfect word. You couldn't have said it better.
Because if it's the men's game, the women, I hate to be this way, but their attendance still isn't good, even on home sites. If it were Coleman, it'd be 15,000, and it'd be disgustingly just going crazy. It would not be fair at all. Would it be fun? Yes. I would love it every year that it where it was at Alabama's advantage, but I would hate it going into anyone else's gym. It'd be awful.
Agreed.
I would think, why do we play this year? Why do we play this whole year just to come to this away gym and get yelled at and lose?
I really do dislike the fact that we've spent so much time talking about this and the stuff.
What do you want to talk about?
No, the reason, and I think it has to be said, because I think that people need to just kind of shut up about this and just enjoy because the NCAA tournament is one of the biggest examples in the world of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh, yes.
Nobody thinks this tournament is broken. Nobody has.
We need another round, Theo.
We need 32 more teams in it. Yeah.
Get out of here.
You know, that was a real proposal for a 96 team.
Yeah, get out of here. No.
What are we doing?
All right. I'm about out of juice. What else have I thought about today? What else did I think about over the weekend? It was a long weekend. Lots of basketball. I'm about out of juice for the day. And I know we're only at 40 minutes. So let me filibuster real quick and tell everybody that we're proudly sponsored by our friends at Warren Tire and Auto. You can find them on 2 great locations to serve you in Tuscaloosa. They've been a University of Alabama staple since 1961. They've got locations on University Boulevard and on 15th Street. For tires, brakes, and alignment, you can reach out to them on 15th Street at 205-759-5505. For all other automotive needs, that's electrical issues, oil change issues, AC issues, transmission issues, you can see them on University Boulevard and call them today at 205-758-2739. Warren Tire and Auto, a proud part of the Joe Gaither Show and your go-to place for all of your automotive needs. I'm about to pull up our spring practice schedule, Theo, because I haven't looked at it yet this week. Let's find out what the heck the Crimson Tide. What we doing, Crimson Tide? Oh, well, I hate Outlook. Outlook, you're terrible. Today's the 24th. Nothing going on today. Tomorrow we'll talk to some players. Great. All right. So here's our football schedule this week. We'll talk to some players on Tuesday. We will talk to Coach DeBoer in the BDS media room at 10 on Thursday. Okay, Coach. Get a little time with Coach DeBoer on Thursday, and that's going to do it for this week. So Tuesday and Thursday, we'll spend some time with the football team. And either I will be here doing that or I'll be in Newark on Thursday. We'll find out what we're going to do. We'll have people posting that stuff on the Bama Central YouTube channel somehow, some way. Theo, I didn't watch any of the baseball this weekend, but I saw a win on Thursday and a bunch of angry gums on Friday and Saturday. Were they screwed? All right, but first, take the glasses off because I know we like to have them on. Were the Crimson Tide, was the Alabama Crimson Tide screwed as bad as the online folks would have you believe?
No. All right, so here's what happened.
What happened?
Alabama. This is the rubber match on Sunday or on Saturday.
Rob Vaughn gets kicked out of the game.
Yeah, and it basically there was a foul tip that we didn't think was caught. Rob Vaughn storms out there. He's in his face. He's chewing the guy out. Furious. Tossed. You look right before that, though. Tennessee, we had one of their players refusing to get into the box. It was a whole controversy. The whole stadium was booing him. Clearly, people in the Alabama dugout were upset. And he finally steps up into the box. And what does he do?
Home run.
He takes Bobby Alcock yard.
Oh.
So there was some tension building up. Rob Vaughn goes out. You're always trying to get your players fired up too.
Sure.
And he said Coach Jackson, who spoke post game, said it perfectly. He literally just said, yeah, we're gonna stick up for our guys. It's a mentality manager should have.
So the manager, I'm pausing here real quick for clarification and a question.
Yeah.
So Rob Vaughn comes out to holler at home plate umpire because the previous batter didn't step into the batter's box on time.
I think that might have been one of the things that kind of built the tension.
Okay.
That was just part of the exposition leading up to it. It was because of that call.
The foul tip.
Yeah. That was something that he thought was worth.
So he thinks that
Rookies.
the Alabama catcher catches a foul tip for an out, and the umpire basically didn't rule it that way.
Yes.
Okay.
And people were, I don't know. It's a tough call. Tennessee fans will say they're right. Bama fans will
Well,
say
what will
we're
you
right.
say, Theo? You watched it. I didn't watch it. What will you say? I'll believe whatever you'll say here.
I think the call is right.
Okay.
I think the call is right. Now, in all my time on X tweeting stuff out, I've had a couple tweets go pretty well. You know, I've
At Theo
had some
Fernandez
college-
_.
Yeah, Theo Fernandez _. The most interacted with tweet is this video I just posted of Vaughn getting thrown out. Just recorded it, sitting next to Peyton Davis up in the press box. Pulled
Great
out my
job, Peyton.
phone.
Great job, Peyton.
20-second video, like 110,000 like views.
You're
Like, it's
famous, bro.
Tennessee fans all in the comments, like
Oh, dude.
calling out Rob Vaughn, laughing at Alabama, reposting the. I'm getting like quoted on the video. Like, yeah,
They're the worst people in the world.
I've discovered.
It's not
Tennessee
Auburn fans.
volunteer Twitter.
It's not Auburn fans. It's not Arkansas basketball fans.
There is a new.
It's
layer.
not Green Bay Packers fans. It's Tennessee. Tennessee fans are the worst people in the world.
You've never met a Philadelphia Eagle fan.
I've met two, and they're pretty tame. But you're right.
If someone ever were to be an Eagles and Tennessee fan, I think, I can't even imagine having to deal
They're
with
the
that.
worst. They're the worst winners in the SEC, and that's what makes them so bad to me. They do not handle winning well at all. Instead of celebrating with themselves, instead of celebrating by singing Rocky Top, the immediate Tennessee fan reaction is to, I need to go rub this in someone's face.
Yeah.
Not I want to celebrate with my friends and teammates and family and rah, let's all say go Tennessee. It's no, let me go look for somebody to make them feel bad about themselves. That's why I think they're the worst people in the world. And why I never, I'm sorry. I have my best friend is a Tennessee fan, and Taylor, you're the worst person in the world. I love you, but drives me absolutely nuts.
Social media is going to be so toxic between Tennessee and Kentucky.
That Sweet 16.
Awesome.
Oh, that Sweet 16 is going to be.
Because Kentucky fans are, at least for basketball, they are on that level.
Dude, they were insane last Saturday.
So
they were insane in Bridgestone Arena, just screaming. Oh my gosh! Just after every call, that's a foul, ref. After every, you need to blow your whistle. Just they were wearing these officials out last week.
If you guys want to play a fun game next year, around the SEC tournament, keep an eye on ticket prices for the SEC championship game, and watch how much those prices drop as soon as Kentucky loses. The fans really are unreal. It's impressive. That's why I was scared about like Nate Oates possibly leaving to go to Kentucky last year.
Oh my gosh, that triggers me. Did you see what happened?
The Texas thing?
Yes.
Yeah, come on. We're not. That was never gonna happen.
No, it was never gonna happen. But Texas, you're dirty. Huh. You're some dirty MFers. I'm sorry, you are, Texas. Like, I've really always kind of liked Texas, but what they did this past week was truly dirty. Rodney Terry is a mediocre basketball coach. Fine. Okay. But we can all agree. We can all see what he's done over the last couple of years. It was fine, not great. You make the tournament this year in a year that you should not have made the tournament, but you won a couple games in Nashville, and I guess you got yourself in. Great. You go in the first four and you lose to Xavier, right? Yeah, you lose to Xavier. And you come home and, okay, hunky-dory, the season's over. And Texas, like, this feels so icky to me. Like, that's why I'm pausing, because I feel so I don't want to be cursing, but because it just makes me feel so nasty. Well, they say, well, we don't know if we like Rodney Terry or not. We obviously recognize above average, not great. We're going to start shopping. They shopped this man's job before they fired him. Right? They shopped this man's job. They call Nate Oates' agent. They call, I guess, Sean Miller, right? They call Sean Miller. Oh, who just beat them? We just lost his. Let's call that guy. He just beat us. They called like 3 or 4 or 5 different names and got turned down. And it was basically like, if we can't get one of these home run names, we'll just keep Rodney Terry. But as soon as Sean Miller, okay, we got Sean Miller on the hook, you're fired, Rodney Terry. That is that is dirty. That is so dirty. And Texas, that's not how a blue blood reacts. That is not how a blue blood athletic
Well,
program.
no one's trying. Texas basketball.
No. As an athletic program, as an entity, Texas athletics is one of the top 10 athletic programs in the country.
I'm not gonna lie, Joe. I see nothing wrong with what they did.
That's immoral.
Is it?
Okay. All right. Theo's an average co-host, an above-average co-host. Good, not great. Good enough to get it done. But we have a run of good shows, and it goes okay. We have a couple bad shows. It goes okay. Whatever. You get mixed reactions from the fans. Keep showing up on Monday. Keep showing up, buddy. But as you keep showing up on Monday, I'm going to be calling Dan Patrick and Stephen A. Smith. I'm going to be calling Dan Lebitard. I'm going to be calling all these superstars. And the second I can get one of them, you're fired, buddy.
Dan Lebitard calls you right now. Asks to come on the show next Monday. You're bringing him on.
But I'm not firing you. You're on. Like, yeah, he's coming.
Right,
Absolutely.
Like to go.
But if I'm not happy with your performance,
yeah,
I need to tell you right to your face and say, "Hey, buddy, you're not doing a good enough job. You're fired. Go look for another radio. Go look for another podcast to join. Give you the freedom. I held you hostage. They're holding Rodney Terry hostage.
I feel like you gotta. I mean, he's a guy who's been there a while. He was the.
So respect him enough to fire him. Respect him enough to fire him so he can. Oh, am I the Texas coach now or not?
Yeah, but I think I don't know. I have to imagine that they were keeping him updated on all this. I mean, I feel like you're kind of describing it like, oh, they're just like he's got no clue what's.
Of course, he has a clue. They're trying to replace him.
I don't really see a huge problem. I think
you would know if I'm calling a bunch of other yahoos at UA to look for. You'd be like, man, I guess Joe doesn't really like me. I guess he's, I'm not doing a good enough job. I guess
it's different. Yeah, it's
dirty. Yeah. It's dirty.
Well, it's just tough because, like, okay, if I find out that I'm on the hot seat, you know what I'm doing? I'm bringing my A game. Like when people are tagging me in Twitter posts saying, "Oh, where's my BAM in the NBA update?" What do? I go home and I make that BAM in the NBA update for the show.
Oh, you have one?
I have it. Oh, so we'll get that later in. But
perfect, Dax. This is going to be your moment. In about 3 minutes, we'll give the BAM in the NBA update.
My point is, like, it's a little like coaching it's a season. His season's over. It's the off season. They're taking some time.
They should have just fired him right then and there and done their shopping.
If you're Rodney Terry and there's a chance the team's going to bring you back, obviously he's going to want to come back.
Sure, he is. Maybe.
They're taking a week at the beginning of the offseason to make this decision.
They should have just fired him right off the bridge. Because they would have kept him had Sean Miller not taken the job.
So that's why you don't fire him, yeah.
And if you're Rodney Terry, that's like, oh, I'm a lame duck coach. I'm just here until they can hire somebody better,
or until you win them enough games where they can't fire you.
Yeah, I mean that's the cute perspective.
Texas basketball had the season that they were supposed to, Rodney Terry wouldn't have been fired. They wouldn't have been in this position at all.
They should have just fired him right off the bat. I'm not even against them firing him. I have no issue with them moving on and getting a new coach. It's the how. It's we might not get the guy we want, so we're just going to leave you in limbo until we get the guy we want. Keep doing the job.
You're talking like, oh, you're here until we get someone else. Like you're kind of saying it like it's a drag. It's a 5-day ordeal. Their season's only been over for 5 days.
Yeah, and he's got 5. And that's 5 days that he should be working back channels to get an assistant coaching job.
If he beat Xavier, he would have been game planning instead of worrying about.
Yeah, but he's not a good coach, so he didn't beat Xavier.
Come on, look, you have to do whatever it takes to win. You have to do whatever it takes to give your program the best shot at winning. They did. And they made an amazing hot Sean Miller with money to work with again. Oh, it's gonna be fun.
He's the Arizona guy, right?
Yeah. He basically got fired for doing stuff that every school in the country does right now. He and
Dirty
Will Wade,
man.
yeah.
Didn't he get fired? Wasn't he? Didn't he lie to the NCAA also?
Yeah.
Look,
that's every school. Does any school not?
that's what these people don't understand, Theo. Just tell them the truth. Yes, I bought the recruit a cheeseburger. Yes, I had the recruit at my house for a cookout, Bruce Pearl. You'd still be at Tennessee if you'd said that. You would literally still be coaching in Tennessee if you'd say, "Yep, we had a cookout at my house." Sorry, it would have been a slap on the wrist. You wouldn't have been fired. Don't lie to the NCAA.
That's why it blows up in an Arizona's face or an LSU's. I mean, that's why Will Wade got into this whole mess. Wonder if Texas made a call to Will Wade.
They had to.
I mean, but he took that NC State. He was pretty set on that NC State job. Maybe Texas could have just hired Amir. You would have loved that one
for a lot cheaper.
Sister Jean assistant coach.
Sister Jean assistant coach. Amir Khan leading the charge. What are the other March Madness heroes? Jack Golke assistant coach.
Jack Golke actually played.
But he was like, yes, he played.
He scored 30 points.
His face looks like a mascot.
How about Doug Eddert? You can't have anything against Doug Eddert.
That's the glasses guy, right?
No, that's St. Peter's.
Yeah, like big old boy.
No, the white dude, the shooter.
Okay, no. Then too many memories flooded.
Man, that St. Peter's team was special.
All right, Theo, hit us with a Bama in the NBA update, and then we'll go home.
Bama in the NBA.
Update. Hold on, let's see. Where are we at in the schedule as Theo gets himself warmed up? Theo is going to be bringing us a Bama in the NBA segment each Monday until he retires. Alabama, the NBA has roughly, oh gosh,
there are like 12 games left.
Yeah. Oh gosh, 2 weeks left essentially. So 2 weeks left in the NBA. The standings are as follows: Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, Pacers, Bucks, Pistons, Hawks, Magic, Bulls, and the Heat all round out the play. And then in the West, you got Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets, Lakers, Grizzlies, Warriors, Timberwolves, Clippers, Kings, Suns round out your top 10. Couple NBA guys, couple Alabama guys in the NBA on several of those teams. This is Theo with Bama in the NBA.
Here we go. So we're going to start off with overall the best Bama guy playing right now, and that was Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
He had 18 earlier in the week against Washington, and then blowout loss to the Celtics. Obviously, the Jazz aren't that good, but he did drop 30, led the way. It was his third 30 ball of the year. He shot 12 of 16 from the field, just absolutely lights out, and it's interesting watching him at this stage in his career because just a couple years ago, this guy was like 21 years old, scoring 25 points per game in the NBA. Looked like a future all-star. The injuries, all that. Okay, he probably will never be that. He can play meaningful winning basketball, and he can be a key, like, sixth-man type piece on a great team. Right now, he's putting up empty numbers. There's no way around it. I mean, Utah is not in any position to play real winning basketball. Get Colin Sexton into a better position, and I hope he finds somewhere. People's perspective on him will change a lot. Young Bulls still got it. Noah Clowney has not played amazing basketball. He shot 3 of 15 in his 2 games this week. He also went 0 for 5 from the field in a game where the Nets almost actually beat the Celtics. And yeah, 0 for 5 is far from ideal. So Alex Reese had a career high 11 points. He did it against the Thunder, a team that actually waived him. So as the Sixers season kind of unravels, Alex Reese has had a lot of playing time. 2 names that I'm most excited to talk about, though. First of all, Keon Ellis has been playing amazing basketball. Probably the best stretch of his career. Scored 13, 4 or 5 shooting. In a down-to-the-wire win against Cleveland. Remember, that's the number 1 seed. He had 18 points in the first half yesterday. Or Saturday. 18-point first half. He is the Kings leader in net rating. So he is the most efficient player on the team out of all the guys who play 10 plus minutes. Keon Ellis, very impressive. Last name for you?
Can we get Keon Ellis on a real team? Because he seems like I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Keon seems like a nice 7th, 8th man on a really good team.
Yeah, and look, I mean, Sacramento is in the thick of it. I mean, they're fighting for a playoff spot. They're, I believe, the 8 or 9 right now. Yeah, they're the 9 right now. They are fighting for their lives to get that spot. They're fighting with Dallas for that last playing spot. So I think it's safely secured, but
Yeah, but we just need him on a better team. The Kings.
no, this is where you want to be right now. You want to be playing. You want to be in the biggest role you can as a player at his age, that young. You want to be playing meaningful basketball.
That young, how old is he? He's still what, 26?
Yeah, 25, 26. He's still on the he would like to think he's still in the first half of his career, right? And if he's on a team like the Lakers, if he's on a team like the Knicks or anyone who's firmly in the playoffs, he's not going to get this kind of opportunity. The Kings are a very flawed team. They are really been underperforming. I mean, they're at 500 this year. Keon Ellis doesn't get these opportunities elsewhere. He's in a great spot, and he keeps playing with them. And, eventually when he hits free agency, then he goes and somewhere else. I think Keon Ellis is in a great position, and he's really stepped up with the opportunities that he's had. Another guy who's getting opportunities right now, J.D. Davison. A lot of people are saying he's the G League MVP frontrunner right now. He's doing some time up in Boston. They called him up from Maine, and
Doing some time in Boston.
yeah, doing some time.
In jail. Keep going.
Well, he had multiple 4-point games, which is doesn't happen often. He's only had 5 of those in his career. But he's stepped up, and he's getting some time. He's already an NBA champion. He might get another ring this year. He is too good for the G League and not quite good enough for the NBA. If I'm J.D. Davison at this stage in my career, I'm probably looking, and I'm like, you know what? I would love to make $1 million and live in Spain and be a star in Europe. I think it probably beats making 70 grand a year and living in Maine. Although I love being in the state of Maine. I think Portland, Maine is one of my favorite cities I've ever been to. J.D. Davison just will never have a real shot at playing meaningful minutes for the Celtics. And I don't know, the teams that he could contribute on it's a limited list, sadly. But
we got to get him out of the G League. We got to get him out of the G League and onto one of these bad teams where he can play a lot of minutes.
Hey, G League MVP this year will be fun, though. He might win it, they're saying. That'd be a cool start.
But what's that worth?
It's a trophy.
Okay. It's a trophy that goes on his shelf. You're right.
It could be a trophy and a championship ring this year before he signs somewhere else. There are worse ways to spend a season.
That's true.
There are a lot of worse ways. You could be Brandon Miller, and not only do you not get to play, but you have to sit on the bench and watch the Charlotte Hornets play 82 games of basketball.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty brutal. Yeah. That sounds like punishment.
I cannot imagine having. At least if you're watching on TV, you get to hear Eric Collins call those games, but he's sitting just at the arena, like just actually at.
You think he's listening to podcasts on the sideline, just like disassociating?
I think he's listening to the Joe Gaither show.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Brandon? You can come on the show anytime.
From the Derek Daniels State Farm studio.
Absolutely.
He's going to be so good next year. He's going to be so back. That connection between him and LaMelo, it won't lead to any victories at all. LaMelo Ball is not a winning basketball player, unfortunately, because he's really fun, and I wish he could be. Maybe they draft Cooper Flagg. Maybe we get that as the big 3.
Oh, that'd be a lot of fun. Hopefully, Brandon Miller is able to take his career to new heights. You're in purgatory in Charlotte, just like you are Herb in New Orleans.
No. New Orleans is a much better situation to be in.
Are you sure?
Well, okay, it doesn't reflect.
What does that say? 9-53, 19-53.
That's who needs Cooper Flag.
19 wins is a better situation.
It is a very fun team, and it's a team that clearly is close to winning, in my opinion. Excuse me, in my opinion.
At one point, I would have agreed with you, but it seems like they get close to the sun and then burn out pretty
Look,
frequently.
DeJounte, CJ, and Herb, solid pieces. Nothing crazy solid. Zion is playing. He's been playing amazing basketball when he's out there.
Yeah, when he's out there.
He's getting in shape.
Aren't we all?
Getting healthier.
We're all getting into shape.
I love Zion.
I'm going, oh, gosh.
I always have.
I loved him when he was a kid. He's played 30 games this year, Zion.
But look what he's done in those 30 games.
Yeah, okay. I don't
25, 7, and 5.
The best ability is
it's availability.
Okay.
He'll be available. He'll make himself available next year.
Okay, we'll see.
And we're gonna see new. I'm holding out hope still. I am. I'm a Zion truther. I'm telling you, this guy could be an MVP.
He could be if he stays healthy. All right, Theo, anything else you got for the people? You're going to be gone for a week. What do you want to leave the people with over the week? Thank you so much for your Bama in the NBA report. We'll get part 2 next week for Dax. What else you got for the people before you say goodbye, or do you just want to say goodbye?
I think we've talked about we could talked about just about every sport.
Say it.
Alabama softball had 2 of the worst chokes I've ever seen this weekend. Just completely out of left field, I know, but like they had multiple. Look, Aaliyah Johnson has been a good closer for this team, but she got shelled multiple times in the 6th inning. We could have swept that series. Should have swept that series.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Up 4-2 in the 6th in game 1. That lead goes apart. You lose that lead right away. You go from 6-1 up, or you're down 6-1 yesterday, entering the 6th. Bama, it's a grand slam.
Back.
Hit a grand slam, scores 6 runs, has the lead, feeling great, and then it's just instantly falls apart.
Not good, Chief. Not good.
Pat Murphy's squad has some issues this year. I can't lie.
It's in the circle. It's all in the circle. It's been at the plate for the last few years, but this year the issue is in the circle.
Mm-hmm.
So I was asked to get Tom Canterbury back on here. We had Tom on a week or 2 ago. I will venture to try to get Tom back on here. Everett, you asked me. I did get your message. I will try to get Tom back on here. Everett wants me to ask Tom some tough softball questions. And I don't know if I want to do that because Tom is my friend. And I do think the softball program is largely healthy, but you have to be honest and definitely say they've taken a step back from where they were 4 years ago.
Last year's team should not have made the World Series.
No, but they did, improbably.
And it put a Band-Aid over all of it.
Yes.
Winning's the best deodorant.
I put on my deodorant this morning. I went and bought some yesterday.
If this year's team makes the World Series, I will be a very, very surprised man.
Yeah, that's going to be a tall task. So we'll see what to do. I'll try to get Tom on here, and I'll try to ask him some tough softball questions. But for you, Everett Osborne, for you, the listener, the viewer, you guys check us out on YouTube, on Facebook, the Bama Central Facebook page, Twitter as well. You can find us at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon, The Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. You can find Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _. You can find me at Joe Gaither 6. Find our friends Warren Tire and Auto at 2 great locations on University Boulevard and on 15th Street. And find us right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios for all of your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. We will talk to you tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.